Hi everybody, I'm Jessie Stone. Welcome to Bitch and Wine. Cheers.
Cheers. Pretty cute.
Welcome. I'm happy to have my guest today, Ginger Alfree. She's one of my good friends here in Waynesville. We've known each other for a few years, right?
Yeah.
Probably met at a brewery.
Probably. I think so.
Or a wedding.
Oh, or
Well, I guess
wedding.
I kind of knew you before Celeste and Carrie's wedding,
Yeah.
but we've become closer
Yeah.
over the years.
Yeah.
She's been a good source to me at the newspaper as well. But this week is National Mental Illness Awareness Week. This is a very important topic. It's been near and dear to my heart for years. I've reported on it for years. But it's a little different when it impacts you personally and your friends, and it's always good to put a face on it. And so I want to thank Ginger for coming on Bitch and Wine this week to talk about her own story. It's a very brave and vulnerable thing to do, but I'm very proud of you, and I'm here to share whatever I'm willing to. So just if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and how long you've struggled with mental health.
Well, like she said, I'm Ginger Alfree, and I have lived in Western North Carolina and been in love every day with Western North Carolina for the last, when I say the number, it makes me feel really old, but 30-something years. We'll just say 30-something years. And I'm originally from Florida, and we came up here. First time I saw snow, we loved it, mountains, anything other than rain and hot from Florida, so it was absolutely beautiful.
4 seasons.
Yes, there's actually 4 seasons. And I would say that not only has mental health been a part of my own life for probably most of my life, but I was surrounded with my mother and sister. We all have kind of suffered in our own unique ways with mental health, including...
Me too. It's a whole family affair,
It's a
isn't
family
it?
affair, yeah, and unfortunately you see it pass on too. I also have 2 children, and I have a child who is suffering with mental health right now as well. So
It's tough.
it is tough.
It's tough to go through it and also see your kids go through it, and
Yeah.
you know, you feel that bit of responsibility.
Yes, there's nothing more frightening than to see your incredibly intelligent child logically think through really scary suicidal thoughts and understand their own mental struggle in a way that you can't really argue with them except show them support and hope against hope that they don't make drastic decisions.
Yeah.
So
And there's always, you know, there is the genetic piece. It is hereditary, but there's also a trauma piece.
yeah.
You know, and I think I have a little bit of both, right? Like, it does run in my family. I'm very lucky that my mother chose to treat her mental illness. I
Right.
think especially a lot of us from Appalachia, we don't want to acknowledge it. My grandmother didn't want to acknowledge her mental health issues. She's 80 something years old today and still refuses to take anything for anxiety and depression.
Right. I have a tendency to have a fear of natural disasters. And it's just, I guess, from growing up in Florida and doing hurricanes and tornadoes and all of that. So one of the reasons why I love Western North Carolina so much is because it's really hard to have all of those happen here. But
One thing at a time.
Yeah, but a pandemic is something that no one expected, and maybe they did, but you can't control it, and it does a thing on your mind, on your psyche. And so I have 2 children. One has asthma, and it's pretty severe, and the other has had open heart surgery. Not exactly high risk, but still would make me super nervous for any of this to happen to them. And I work in a place where I'm exposed to, I'll say just for the month of July, there was 40,000 people who came through. And so my brain has exploded with not knowing the right things to do. How do I keep myself safe? How do I keep my kids safe? And I've walked this tightrope of being a non-parent parent to being a helicopter parent to being, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to be a human, let alone a parent, and be responsible for someone else.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah,
what
nobody
can
knows.
I be doing? Am I doing enough? You know.
So it's definitely exacerbated my original, possibly undiagnosed or unrealized conditions. I was recently diagnosed through trying medication that I have ADD, adult ADD, and I am on a medication for that. And it, for the first little bit, was really awesome. It was super amazing. So my whole life, I have a whole lot of trauma from, I don't know when it started, but I know it's been continual for most of my life. And the thing about trauma is if you don't work with it and you don't heal it and you don't separate the image from the emotion, you will feel that same traumatic event in your body and in your mind every single time it comes up. Like
You're in
it's
constant-
just now happening again.
Constant like emergency mode, and we know that when we're stressed and have that adrenaline, our body is producing all kind of flight,
Yeah. And so
hormones,
yeah.
and you're just in a constant state of panic.
Yes, and I feel like after taking this medication for ADD, I'm realizing that my entire life was fight mode and flight mode. And so I know how to make really great, quick, knee-jerk decisions when I have also thought about all these other outcomes. So I had the ability to fight or flight, think of all these different possibilities and just go with it. And if I had feelings of like I'm not good enough, or you're ugly, or nobody needs you, or whatever lies we tell ourselves, it just had to go through. I just and I would freak out for maybe like a half a day, and be really, really down.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have a chance to process anything and would keep going.
I think that's another important point is, when you have had mental illness a lot of your life, that becomes your normal.
Oh yeah.
And you don't know what your baseline
Yes.
normal is. So it totally feels, so when you get that little relief, you're like, oh my gosh, this is what
Right.
this is what life's supposed to be like. And then now we're in this constant state of uncertainty.
Yes.
We have no idea what's going to happen next. It's
Yeah.
something new every day. We're getting exhausted. I think at the first few months of the pandemic, we're running on that adrenaline.
Right.
That's just what's keeping us going. And now, we're in phase 2 of this pandemic, where that's exhausted. All those
Yeah.
resources are exhausted.
Yep.
And now we're just so tired, and we don't know where to turn next for our energy
Yeah.
and direction.
Right. So one of the things that I've been super grateful for about this pandemic, which is weird to say, is that it's given me a whole lot of I need to be introspective. I already am an introspective, analytical person, but it's made me be more with myself. And so it's started, which I say this has been exacerbated by COVID-19, it started this path of, why do I act that way? Why is a normal something having me be reactionary in something that seems absolutely unreasonable? I have unreasonable reactions to situations and things. And digging deeper.
But you acknowledge it. That's like half the battle is being aware that, oh my gosh, my response is totally unjustified right now.
Well, I mean, it's only because I've had really good friends and a really
Yes.
good boyfriend be like, what?
Yeah,
But
that is
love me
not
through
normal.
it. Love me through it.
We'll love you
But been like, yeah, I don't get it. And then me trying to be like, how can you not understand? Right.
So that outside perspective.
Oh yeah, it's totally needed. You need to have a really good support system just so people can see stuff that you can't see. When you're in your own head, you can't see a lot of things. So
This idea that we're supposed to be happy all the time.
Right.
That's bullshit.
No.
We're not supposed to be happy all the time.
we're supposed to have painful events. Because
Right.
on the flip side of this, let me get all philosophical.
Do it. Let's go.
On the flip side of it, so you cannot ever experience love without hate or loss.
Correct.
You can't experience pain without love. And all of these things are so intertwined that, you have to experience the whole spectrum of it so
Right.
that you can appreciate when you do have happiness or when you do have love, or that you can understand that you will have love again if you lose it.
Correct.
Or all,
That it's just around the corner. That feeling of, okay, I'm in a bad moment. I'm sad right now, or I'm depressed, but I know it's gonna pass.
Right.
And I know happiness is there.
Yes.
It will come again.
Yeah.
So just that
And
awareness.
when you get into those really overwhelming, heavier than the world on your shoulders types of moments, it's really hard to feel those things and see those things. So one of the things that's helped me recently is just taking pleasure in the most extremely small things.
Absolutely.
Like the breeze on a warm day.
first fall, that first day that felt like
yes,
fall.
the crispy air.
Oh
yeah,
gosh,
it was so nice.
Yeah.
But just finding, and a lot of it is, we lose sight of what it is we really love to do and what we really love to be a part of because, well, life has a tendency to get us down.
We have to be purposeful about it.
Love people.
And this is something I've written about for years, and it seems like it's still a problem, and we're not really making any movement on it, is mental health resources in Western North Carolina. The providers we do have, gosh, I mean, they try so hard. I can't imagine what they're up against. They are, like you said earlier, they're just totally saturated right now. They can only help so many people. And we do not have the mental health funding or facilities to, especially not right now. I mean, if you've never experienced mental illness before this pandemic, you're definitely feeling it right now. You might not even realize that's what you're feeling, but you were definitely struggling with some mental health issues. It's just normal with everything that we're going through right now. And a lot of people don't know where to turn. They don't have insurance. They don't have insurance that's in network in our area, that's both of us have insurance. It's not really the most popular service in Western North Carolina, so we struggle to find in-network resources. So talk a little bit about your struggles with accessing help.
Yeah, so I have been trying probably since the beginning of the year to just get in with a therapist, any kind of therapist, and just admit that everything that I've been doing up to this point, and my learned coping skills, psychology was one of my favorite classes. So I really
Thank
liked
God,
it.
right?
I know.
Thank God we took those classes.
So anyway, all my coping skills were no longer working for me, so I decided, yes, I needed another thing to help me get more coping skills or learn other skills. And I tried to get a therapist. It took me from probably the end of January to the beginning of March to finally get in with a therapist who took my insurance, and I got to see them just one time before COVID shutdown happened. So and the whole year I've only seen them maybe 6 times.
Have you done like the virtual?
But in the mode that I was in, it became a crisis situation, and it was just not enough for me. It is really, I don't want to discourage anyone. There's always help out there, and there's always the emergency room. If you're ever in a crisis situation and you are terrified and not in a safe place, go to the emergency room, whether it's here in Haywood County or at Mission Hospital. You will get good care.
That's not the solution we want, but that's what we have right now.
If ever it's that serious, just don't hesitate and know that there's help there. But as far as getting regimented help, I'm still in the middle of that. So I don't really know as far as how it's going to go, but I do know that there are a couple of places here in Haywood County that specialize. Meridian, I think, is one of them. Appalachian is one of them. There are some other places and resources in Asheville. Copestone is an in-house treatment place.
And that's what we don't have enough of, is the inpatient facilities.
Well, and one of the other things, not that it shouldn't be there, but because there's so much more funding for it, there's not just regimented, regular mental and behavioral health places. It's like for substance abuse or recovery, which is perfect, and it needs to be there, but there needs
That's
to
a
be
piece of it.
There needs to be more. Like, I don't want to have to go to a rehabilitation for substance use if I am not addicted to a substance.
Right.
And I don't feel like that's bad. I just think that there's just not enough out there. But it's also getting cut from everywhere. Funding is getting cut from everywhere.
The state cut over $9 million just in the last year from VIA Health, which is VIA is kind of the middleman, right? VIA gets the state funds, and they are in charge of all the western counties, I think, but like 20 counties or something. And then they decide who gets the state funding for, Medicare services.
And what they also,
and uninsured people.
I think what they also do is, if you do have insurance or something, they can help cover the interim, like your private costs or whatever, if it's just going to be too much for you.
Okay. So again, don't want to discourage anyone from trying to find help. But like you said, you just have to keep trying.
You just have to.
You have to be willing.
Yeah, I've definitely been met with a whole lot of if I didn't have my wisdom about me with my depression right now, I would definitely be in a way worse state, simply because of how very hard it's been to get anything going in any direction, any ball rolling. I mean, I don't care what it is. It could have been a yes to riding a bicycle in the park. I don't even care, but it could have been whatever, and there was no steps going forward, it felt like, for a while, and I'm still kind of there. I'm still having to kind of create my own program for myself right now, and try to get the help that I need, because I don't care if I go back to work, if I have a bazillion dollars, if I do this or I do that, if I don't address the underlying issues of my trauma and my depression, there is absolutely nothing I can do that's going to be a good outcome if I don't take care of it first and know that I have to take care of me in this way.
And that's the hard thing when you're suffering from depression and anxiety. That's the last thing you need is more obstacles to get help. And like you said, it does take a support system. You know, if you have people in your life that can then help you navigate these resources, you know, absolutely take advantage of it. It's not a weakness. You need help. We all need help. We can't, none of us can do it alone right now.
And definitely just a little advice is, if somebody does reach out to you, don't ever blow it off. It's super important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today. I think this is some good information. I know everybody's struggling right now, and again, want to reiterate, please reach out for help. There are 1-800 hotline numbers. There is Meridian Health that has a hotline number. I know Appalachian has their hotline number. Worst come to worst, go to the ER.
There's also walk-in crisis units at, I think, both Appalachian and I think maybe Meridian. I'm not sure about
in
Meridian.
some counties, I think.
Yeah,
in
some of them, they
counties.
have them open. So just check it out, and you're not alone. And there is help. Just reach out.
There are support groups via Zoom or in person. And if you need help finding a resource, please send me an email, Jessie, Jessi, at SmokyMountainNews.com. Like I said, I've been covering this for years. I can point you to the right resource. If I can be of help, I would absolutely love to. So thank you, Ginger, for coming on. Wish you all the best. Please reach out to me if you need anything.
It might happen.
Keep trying. Don't give up. I think that's the #1 message. So we're sending all of our love to you, and thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, babe. We'll see you next time on Bitch and Wine.